So Dave Roberts, and again, this is mostly for Ada, but it's a good refresher for other people. Dave Roberts is our leader. He is the CEO and founder of My Vision Warrior, which is not this, but it is the group that he has started and then took over this. Dave, can you move the mic out of the way so I can see your thing? Are you gone too far? Thank you. Since I want to use this as a back. So he's been doing business transformation, as you can see on the slide there, 45 years. So long before he started this group. He's been a corporate VP and a partner in several different businesses. He's an author. Obviously, he's a speaker and a podcaster and a coach. He's got several things that he does online that he interviews people. I've been on, and I'm sure Michael, I guess you've been on. I don't know, Ruth, have you been interviewed yet? Oh man, Dave, you got to get after her. So he's been doing the vision and impact for the last 15 years. He's got a passion to support other inspired leaders and building community and networks, and that's part of this. Be Connected is another one. And his mission is to support inspired leaders and build community and networks. And he's helped us build the men's breakfast. He's a driving force in the Be Connected. And he's a really good guy on top of all that. He's very easy to talk to. He does occasionally have his own opinion, but it's good to get into those kinds of discussions with Dave because he never puts you down. So anyway, he's hiding in the corner there, so I guess we can welcome him back. David Roberts, a big round of applause for Dave. All right, woo!
Never put you down. Wait a minute. I have an objection to that.
Well,
what's
Zip,
that?
Zip, you're an exception. I have to bust you every time I turn around. So we are going to focus on your questions, the topics that I'm actually prepared to talk and share some, anything about. I still got a lot of questions after the meeting on Wednesday, and I've had some discussion about Be Connected. How do I make that work? Where's it at? What can I do? So that's there. But we can also talk about boundaries and prioritization, which is what I think, folks have talked about here. So, and I'm personally, ready to weigh in, talk to you about things that I find are important. I know Mako has some great ideas there, and I know we're all have expertise in the area of trying to juggle multiple balls, multiple topics. Some people have like Don Huff, who's now a adjunct professor or whatever you call yourself, and also does his own business and that kind of thing. We have Ada on here, who has a job, has a current focus, but is looking to move into some form of entrepreneurial endeavor. So that's great. We have people with money. We have people focused on insurance and other services, and Randy, who knows all the questions. So we've got a great opportunity here to have a discussion. This is going to be recorded. It is a live show on the Be Connected platform. So I'm going to open it up to, and Randy, your mic is open, and it's on. I've got mine set, so you'll on speaker view. So when you're talking, it'll pop up, and that's what will be recorded. So any questions that you have, Randy, or anybody around either boundaries or how do I do a better job of managing my time networking? How do I do online versus in-person networking? I heard a lot of that in the Wednesday meeting, which inspired me to say, hey, we need to have some focused discussion around this because things are changing. And so I get that. So somebody want to start us off with a question, just open up your mic and go ahead. So Randy, go ahead.
Sure, David. I was just thinking while you were talking. So for Ada, but for all of us, if you're thinking of diversifying your business, growing your business and getting into other markets, or starting a new business, what do you think would be 3 good steps for someone who's putting themselves in that position?
Great question.
Of course.
I'll give you my point of view, and then the rules are here that when I answer something in this context, in this mastermind, and you want to say yes, or you agree with it, that's fine. If you want to add something to it, you say yes and open your mic, and then you can give me an and. If you have something that says, okay, yeah, I think that I kind of agree with that, but, and you want to kind of home in or maybe go in a different direction, that's totally fine. So this is a mastermind. So we're looking, I'm also looking, hoping that I will expand my thinking on any subject as well. So to give you a starting point, and I'm also, in answering Randy's question, we've got Mako here. You heard a little bit from Ruth. You've got Don here who has his own business and those kinds of things. So I'm going to give you my point of view. I think the first thing that when you start, and Randy's not going to be surprised at this response, and nor is most people who know me, is the question I would ask if you're going to start your own business, get started, or even if you're going to restart your business or you want to take your business to the next level, they have to revisit three things. And I've been working with everybody from corporations of large, multi-billion-dollar companies to now I really love working with individuals and entrepreneurs. But the first question is, why are you doing what you're doing? What is the reason that you are thinking about in the context of Randy's question? If you're thinking about doing something different or doing something, more in what you're doing, or doing something new, starting a new business, taking your business to the next level, why are you doing it? And that is a bigger question, but there are also whys, what I call sub whys, that you need to answer in terms of, okay, I'm doing this. Michael Dressel is a good example. He's rebranded his company. There's been some, not only whys and why he loves supporting people in their journey of getting insurance and things like that, but also there's some whys around the business context that have driven his decision. So first of all is, why are you doing it? Why are you wanting to start the business or gain? So that's the first question. The second question that is also something that you need to do a little bit of research on or whatever is, what is the unique, and I say unique, and we are all unique, what is the unique value that you personally, I don't mean your company, I don't mean the company that you're considering, I mean you personally, what is the unique value that you see yourself bringing to the table? And the interesting thing is, it's generally not defined by you. It's defined by what people tend to ask you for. Okay. So when you're on your journey, right? And it could be all the way back. I can tell you my journey of, why and what my unique value is has evolved since I was in elementary school. And I learned some things about myself that became reinforced, and it manifested in different kinds of roles, different places where I was able to serve. So what is the unique value that you provide? Ada, you might be providing that value in your job today, but might be finding that you're funding somebody else's dream or somebody else's why. And you've got a why where you can take your unique value and apply it to your business. So that's the second question. The third question is, where are you going? What is the unique destination? And I say destination again, if you've ever listened to my podcast, it's not a destination, it's a journey every day. My coffee cup that my daughter made for me for Father's Day says it's a journey, not a destination, or something to that effect. So that's something that I say. So that is the foundational step. Now, that's not all the answers. That's not all the how. One of the things I find with a lot of entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs, is that they want to do something, is you have to have those foundational questions, I noticed a pause for a second, those foundational questions kind of answered in your mind. Those are foundational. And then there's a whole lot of how you do it and those kinds of things that come after that. So does that answer the kind
Yeah,
of the
David, I
question,
think
Randy?
that's an excellent, because, the saying that I use that parallels to these three is if you don't know where you're going, any old path will get you there. And that's not necessarily a good way to do things. So putting together the why, unique value, and the destination, knowing those three things when you start. And Ada, I think these are excellent for you to think about as you're starting a new pathway for your life, and for all of us. I mean, I think Michael went through that as he kind of rebranded his business. So those are three good. Thank you, David. I knew you would come through on that.
So, and thank you, Randy. That was a great tee up for those that have been part of the Vision Challenge or whatever. That's a journey that I love taking entrepreneurs and people on to make sure so that I know what their dream is, what inspires them. That goes to my life purpose. Any other thoughts around that or questions in addition to that anybody else could offer up? I think there's probably a lot more to that in terms of the how and that people could offer here. Anybody want to venture into the waters of helping on that subject, or do you want to segue to something else? So just open up your mic. Mako, go ahead.
I think once you have those basic pillars or principles in place and you start your journey, one thing that I've always kept in mind, and I think all of us should always keep in mind, is that it's not a set one-way path. You're going to be swerving left and right, so you always got to you got to know in your mind that it's a continual improvement along that journey. You're going to run into little bumps here and there, and you're going to have to pivot and adjust with each change in technology, change in your competition. There's all kinds of things that you're going to have to address along the way, but keeping those fundamentals in mind, that'll help guide you through those challenges that you meet each and every day, every week, every month. Like the pandemic, that was a huge curveball.
Right. Good
that
point.
all of us had to change. Restaurants started doing QR codes because they wouldn't print menus. You would see the little QR code on their tables, things like that. Just simple things like that. And anyway, continual improvement is my mantra when it comes to that sort of thing.
So continuous process improvement.
Right.
Hey, I've got another call. I got to duck out for just a minute. Thank you.
Okay, sure, Don. And Mako, while you're still I kind of got you on stage a little bit here. I have a question. Are you okay with answering a question for me about this continuous improvement, Mako?
Sure.
So one of the things that you've been doing that I haven't been very engaged in, but I realize it's important, is you've been creating short TikTok videos and those kinds of things in adapting to kind of new trends and getting your message out. And one of the things that a lot of people don't really know is on the Be Connected platform now, they have added what they call a B feed, and it really has the target is integrating the TikTok, if you will, mindset into providing short 1-minute videos that kind of communicate certain things and getting engagement from the community. It's a new enhancement to the system, and I'm now saying, okay, I need to figure out or need to focus on creating some 1-minute video content or whatever like TikTok. Any learnings there, any thoughts there from your perspective that would be helpful, at least to me? I would like to understand a little bit.
Well, for me, it's been a team effort between my brother and I, and it's been kind of fun, actually. I don't think none of us have to be very intimidated by the process, because it's as simple as grabbing your phone and practicing and doing those videos. I mean, there's a lot of tools. The ones that we've been engaging in are what are they called? Reels, Reels.
Right,
And
on Instagram. Okay, so you've been doing
Yeah.
Instagram
Instagram
Reels.
and on Facebook too.
Yeah. Well,
And,
yeah, that's right.
But the approach that Art and I are taking is that we're doing these short videos to address certain things like FAQs, frequently asked questions. We're going to do some videos on that about printing and, about our background and then on different products that we're doing. And we're just engaging the process. I've talked to other friends of mine that are in business that they're completely against it, that, that's not enough time, and that they're all thinking old school ways of doing things.
right.
And I think you just have to embrace it and give it a try and have fun at it. So that's what
People can always reach out and ask you follow-up questions once they've watched or seen that kind of information, right?
Mhm.
And you're kind of hoping that.
I've been practicing on a personal level too, not just on the business side of it. And I did one on eating a hamburger with peanut butter, and I got 500 views on that thing. And that was the very first TikTok video or Instagram video I did. And but anyway, the people are out there, and you never know who's going to engage and see that. So,
and I have no clue about TikTok at all. So, I'd love to see something that you've done.
Well, and TikTok and Reels, just to clarify, it's really what's really called short form video.
Right.
And one of the things I learned, my podcast is, 30 to 40 minutes. These masterminds, which are shows, they're on the YouTube channel. They're could be an hour and a half,
right?
That kind of thing. And to Mako's the detractors from his putting the energy in, that I would argue is that getting to be seen is should be as I think his objective is to get the initial engagement. In other words, people aren't going to necessarily do business with you. We talked about that just because of a 1-minute video,
right?
But it's like your 30 seconds on the network, in your in-person networking, right? It's enough information to say, hey, that's interesting. I need to get to know Mako. I need to get to, he's an interesting guy. Let me see what else he's got.
Indeed,
again, know is what your target is for the short form video. Like means that they kind of like what they saw, might have been funny or whatever, but they're not going to buy from you or even refer you until they
trust you.
Right. So the argument of saying, okay, that 1-minute video isn't going to help them buy from you is a good argument. But the problem is they're not going to buy from you because they don't know you exist. And so that's the purpose of adding the 1-minute, because videos are important, adding the 1-minute or the short form video to be connected and or reels and or that's why it's coming. And the other thing is the attention span. I said intention. I didn't mean to say it that way. The attention span of the Gen Z and younger, and even I would argue the millennial, is about a minute. And so if you don't capture them, at least them interested in a minute, they're still not going to know you exist or know that
that's right.
Or even get a chance to like you, or to get to know them. So Michael, I see your hand. Let me add you to the mix here. Go ahead, Michael.
Well, and you kind of stole my thunder. I was going to say exactly what you just said, Dave, about the fact of the generational situation.
Right.
Because you're not looking in a millennial or younger, you're not looking to educate them, or you're not looking to dialogue with them. You're looking for them to go, oh, that's interesting, because that is, in their mind, is bigger than a 30 to 45 minute video on a subject. If you intrigue them, if you entertain them and you capture their imagination, that's bigger for them than anything you can do as far as education. That allows them, it's almost like, you know, if you capture their imagination, for them, that's credibility. Where used to be
Right.
credibility was your, profile or your resume or anything like that. Your 1 minute video or your 30-second commercial or 45-second commercial of intriguing is your, your word, and that's what they tone
Right.
into.
And I'm glad you weighed in. I'm glad you weighed in, Michael, because in the 30 seconds spot or discussion that we have often, you always bring the receipts, if you will, or bring the goods in terms of something different, something that doesn't encourage us to tune out. And I'm not being critical of people who have a tagline or who have rehearsed and have a 30-second commercial. I'm not really dissing that intentionally, but the challenge you have, if you're regularly participating in the community, the network, if you will, is, we all have it, is continuing to be interesting. People continuing to stay with you along your journey, because if you're where you were in 2014 when we started RP Networkers to the same today,
Right.
and I'm not picking on any individual,
Right.
then I think I already know everything about you. And
And it's a way to keep it fresh.
But the thing is, you're taught, you become interesting and you become top of mind. It's just another way to keep top of mind. That's why we've added that to the Be Connected, Be Feed, is because if you're connected to people and you post something there, a 1-minute video or a graphic or something like a lot of you do on Facebook, Instagram, other quote social media platforms. And again, don't get me started. When I got pressed into service to do this before, nobody trusts media. I don't care if you call it social or not. So the reality of it is, we're trying to do social business. So we're trying to do relationship business. That's what you do when we're doing face-to-face networking. So being willing to change. And I love what Mako said. He's always looking for new tools, new ways.
Right.
That's why he's always a great asset to these Friday sessions, is because he's always learning. No matter how long he's been in the business, he's always learning and looking for new and better ways and having fun with short form video or whatever.
Right.
So that's why I asked him to weigh in. What else, Randy?
I was just going to say that it's not just the Gen Zs that want it short. I mean, I remember a long time ago, I think it might have been on Dragnet, they said, just the facts, ma'am, just the facts. And particularly us older people, and I'll speak for myself, we tend to tell stories. And somewhere in that story is a snippet of information that could attract somebody, but you bore them to tears with a story. I have a guy that used to work for me that I'm back in touch with him again. I won't mention his name. None of you will know him anyway. But he's got great stories. He used to be in special operations in the military, so he's got fantastic stories. But when we want to talk about business, we can't talk about business without him giving me a story that goes along with it. And my attention span can't deal with that anymore. I just want the facts, ma'am, just the facts. So I think everybody, as you were saying, it's just kind of the way things are today. And I'm probably guilty of it right now because I'm running on at the mouth. But we want the snippet. We want the information. If you want to extend it, let the person ask questions, and I'll stop.
Right. And that's again, Randy, you hit some very, somewhat revealing truths. Number one, you're not the target market.
No, right.
So,
that's right.
So the way you're thinking of it, and trying to understand it, nor is Mako, frankly, nor is even Michael. And Michael's probably the youngest one on screen. And again, I don't know, and Ruth or Zip, or we're looking at the batch of buyers, which is higher number than any of us in the boomers and Gen X's and it's the Gen Y and newer, if you will. And if you're looking forward in your business, we need to be thinking about those folks. That's why some of the changes that have been made to the Be Connected platform, frankly, have been made, is because the people driving the technology right now, driving the platform, are Gen Z or millennials and younger. Okay, these are the 20 somethings that are really helping form that platform. So,
but I think part of it is you got to know your market. Don't just assume it's them, the ones you're describing. Don't just assume it's the old farts like me. I mean, you have to understand your market and who does it consist of, and then what are the right tools and techniques to attract them.
right. So, any other thoughts on that? If anybody that's not up here on the stage right now wants to ask a question, I'll bring you up too, or wants to add that, or wants to change the subject, that's fine. Any other thoughts around this? By the way, this does dovetail into the boundaries thing, because, I think about creating a short form video and or a 1 minute video. That, to me, what that sounds like, and I'm sure it does to other people here, is that's one more thing to do I don't have time to do. I got to figure out how to even do that. And one of the reasons why I wanted Mako to come, because he's obviously invested some time,
right,
learned how to do it, decided it wasn't that hard to do, all that stuff. And that's what keeps me, if you will, from focusing on that. And maybe I don't need to focus. Maybe I need to allocate not my time, but my money to helping somebody like not necessarily Mako, that's not his business, but like, Rick Rawson or somebody else that I run across, that David Aguirre, who's been part of this group, has done videos, he's doing short form videos, and there are other people that are in the community. So any other thoughts around that? You guys this has been great, by the way. This is good stuff. Anybody?
Quick comment.
Mako, go ahead.
As we've been talking about, some of the current things like social media, Instagram and Facebook and things like that, I don't think we should also sell short some of the real basic things like one-on-one conversations with people. Absolutely. And things like that, because I've got those. That's how I've gotten my biggest customers, have been with face-to-face time spent with somebody over lunch or just here at the shop at our conference table and things like that. And I don't think you can go wrong with doing still some of the basics as part of your multi-channel marketing and salesmanship.
Mako, you're brilliant as always. The fundamental thing here is, as we were talking about, just getting them aware of your short form video or getting them aware you exist doesn't translate into the real big clients or clients at all, because again, people do business with people they trust. People refer business, ultimately put their reputation on the line. It's easier for you to get me to buy your stuff than it is for me to recommend you, because if you mess up for me, I'm going to be unhappy, and I'll work with you on it because I probably already trust you to a degree. But if I refer you to somebody in my network, right, and I say you need to meet with Mako, and Mako screws them over, I have no recovery.
Right. Good point.
I basically have just messed up my second most valuable asset. My most valuable asset is my time. The second most valuable asset is my network, my community, my family,
your reputation,
my church, my reputation. That's, to me, is important. So I don't want to sell that short. Michael, did you have something else you wanted to add?
Yeah, actually, that the biggest thing that you can do with any business, because everybody has a product behind them that they're working on, but the biggest thing is the relationship that you have with those people that you're either referred into or you have the relationship back and forth. And it's getting to know how that person operates and their kind of their makeup. So their identity, their emotional, the way they want to be communicated with, and that takes training and things like that. But that is the best thing you can do to scale up your business or to start a business, is to learn about people and how they relate, no matter what generation it is, no matter, who they are. Kind of have some identifiers that you can say, okay, this person is XYZ. Like my perfect example is normally on every one-to-one, like Mako said, I'll talk about my background and things like that. There was one guy, I walked into a meeting and I knew he was not wired that way. So I went right into how can we do business together? And he actually in 20 minutes said, by the way, I really appreciate you going right into that. So many people bore me with, their wives and their kids and all that stuff. And I'm like, I get it. I'm like, so at that point, I was more that way because I knew he was that way. But
Right.
some people, I'm relational. So like my daughter right now is mocking me. So I'll go ahead and use her as an example. So I'll talk about her dancing and things like that with other people.
Right.
So it just depends on who I'm talking to.
And that's really
Yeah, but
critical.
David, you know what? I mean, if you've been around long enough and you're in your community and you recommend somebody, and sometimes I do this in business if it's a lot, if I'm recommending somebody and I've known them kind of just third party, but we've talked once or twice. If I recommend somebody and then they do something bad, then I don't I don't feel that they are going to look bad upon me. Now, if it's a continuous thing, I recommend bad people, but occasionally people that you think do bad things.
Right.
And and sometimes I tell people if they're going to do a money deal, I said, the guys, I haven't done a deal with him or I've done a deal with him and everything came out right, but you got to, do your own due diligence, and they understand that. So, so I mean, somebody like you, David, recommended somebody, if you've known for a couple months and he's been around, I don't think they're going to look bad on you. Somebody like
I'm not
Randy, recommends everybody. That's different.
I get it. I get it, Zip. The thing is, and if somebody does know me, and I appreciate what you said, somebody does know me, they know I don't do that. They know what I said, which is that I don't do it frivolously. And I don't I'm not a guy. If I may help you and say, hey, I know this guy, or I have this guy's in my network, but I don't know him. So yeah, I will qualify that. But normally that's not a very high value recommendation.
Mm-hmm.
So it's different than a referral. People, these referral
Right.
DRN. Yeah, I don't like that term because it's not doubt. If I recommend you, anybody on this, it's most likely, especially if it's something that I think is a real deal when somebody's talking to me, it's probably going to start with a three-way conversation, because I'm going to recommend Mike Dressel, for example, just to use him pick on him a little bit. And I'm going to say, and I really trust him, but let me set up a Zoom. The three of us will get on it. Let me introduce you. And the success rate when I do that, I will tell you, because I measure my recommendations, is about 85 to 90% in that range, where they will actually end up doing business together. But I've qualified both sides of that, right? I've qualified the person that's looking for the recommendation and the person that I'm recommending to. That's what affects that's what reflects on me,
Mm-hmm.
and builds my credibility. I can recover. I mean, I'm not afraid. I mean, I'll tell somebody, hey, I don't know this guy at all, but I do know he does this. And I kind of liked him when he came to my network group, or this woman, but I don't know her that well. I don't know what your experience is going to be. I can either introduce you, or I'll just give you the number. Same way on the other side. I can say to Ruth, hey, Ruth, this guy needs money, but I'm not sure what he needs it for. I don't know if it's a drug deal or whatever. So don't take it to the bank, or don't judge me, if you will, if it doesn't work out. But I know what I know. I mean, again,
Right.
part of it is being transparent, authentic about what that is. And so, Zip, your point is well taken.
The record, I will cover drug dealers, just letting you know.
Okay, so yeah, so I know, Michael, I've referred a few to you, but I already knew that was. No, I'm teasing. So, any other thought?
Careful now,
this is
careful
good. This is
now.
great,
I don't
guys.
sell drugs.
What, Zip? You're off camera, so I.
Couldn't read it.
Careful.
Yeah, Zip's feeling
Zip's
uncomfortable.
Yeah, well, Zip is the drug dealer I was talking about, so he's always pushing CBD or CBG or whatever CB you want to talk about at any given point in time. So
That's an approved drug.
well, depends on who,
Oh,
I'm not
Ada's
sure.
got a comment.
Actually, certain places
they
in
all?
Europe, I learned, I'm traveling to Europe in a little over a week or 10 days. And I learned that you can't, there's certain places where you can't have, even CBD is not legit. So
I wouldn't take that to Europe in any shape.
So
I think
anyway,
Ada
so
had a question.
I don't want to go
up.
drop down that rabbit hole, Zip. So
Yeah.
don't open up your mic for that one. Michael, what else?
No,
I think
Ada had a question.
Ada has a question.
Oh, Ada, go ahead.
Hello, I have a question. Yes, I'm sure based on what I was reading in the description that there'll be future meetings where you'll talk further on this topic, but just a little overview for somebody starting out. Any thoughts? And thank you for those questions you gave to think about. I'll definitely do that. And any thoughts on how at this stage one should divvy up their time in terms of putting hours towards this and that, and then along with whatever one else has to do with in regular life. Yeah, the time. Thank you.
Great. Thanks for the question. And I'm gonna give the first opportunity to respond to that to somebody other than myself, because I don't want to just totally monopolize. We're leading a mastermind. I'm not the only mind in the equation. So go ahead, Michael. Do you have something you want to add or responding?
Yeah,
to
the biggest thing I would say, because we all have life, because the illusion is when you get into your business is that life will stop and you'll just be able to work on your business. So I would say that your calendar is the biggest thing. So if it, like my thing is, I tell people, if it's not on my calendar, it doesn't exist. So because that keeps me focused, because you can, if you don't have something that keeps you focused, being an entrepreneur or a business owner, then especially for me, I'm all over the place. If a squirrel's going by, I'm going to look at it. But if you're focused on what that topic for that hour is, or what you're supposed to get done in that time frame, then that'll lead you to a path of success.
Awesome response, Michael. I'm glad that you weighed in there, because let me say, and I don't want to steal Lisa's thunder. Again, she'll be back on the 26th of August, but I will tell you there's a technique that once you know why you're doing it, the value you provide, and where you're going, where your vision is for your business, that's just the beginning. That's the foundation. So you need to allocate time to that. But the most important thing in the clients that I work with that have completed the vision challenge is the daily alignment to those things in your business. And that includes what Michael said, which is, again, brilliant and very important, in that it aligns to your life. You have family, you have other obligations that may not be your business, you have financial constraints, you have other time. So time blocking, anybody heard that term before?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That is the most important tool once you do what I care about the most, which is know why you're doing it, value provide, where you're going, is a day-to-day journey. That journey that we talk about on my podcast, it's not it's not the getting there, it's a journey every day. That journey is an exercise in time blocking. That journey is using the tool. I would recommend your calendar, or a calendar that comprehends not just work, but your life. And I would put time blocks in there that say, okay, somebody has a job, it's easy. I say easy because they tell you when to come to work. They tell you when you can take off. They tell you when you can go to the bathroom.
Mhm.
They tell you, when you can eat lunch. They tell you, all of those things, right? So you don't have to think about this. But if you're an entrepreneur, right? If you've got your time, even if you're trying to start something where you're getting a time, you've got to block time on your calendar if it's important. If your vision is important to you, then you've got to put my personal time, my commitment to my family, my commitment on a daily basis to doing something in my business, not just on my business, meetings that I have scheduled. Be intentional. You're not a zombie. You're a warrior, and your warrior should first have control, not only of knowing why they're doing it, and all that stuff that I talk about all the time, but also how you're going to allocate your calendar, your time to that. So that's a brilliant, Michael. Thank you for jumping in there, because I wasn't necessarily going to go there, but I think that's probably the most important thing for Ada. Ada, did that help at all? I'm sensitive to you investing first time in the group. Does that give you anything?
Yes, it does help. It does help. Yeah, you do some of the clarifying, as you said before, and then you try to align your time as best as possible.
How do you manage, Ada? How do you manage your calendar right now? Do you have a calendar? And I'm not there's no judgment here. I'm just.
Well, I have I mean, I have a calendar tool, but I'd kind of been not on task in terms of actually, that daily thing, but that's kind of what I was alluding to in the beginning when I was mentioning to Randy that I've been going through a process of which I've like been decluttering and organizing, and kind of like now I'm getting myself back into to do that. So actually that's even this weekend, that's what I'll probably be doing is working on my calendar and just kind of like sorting out my paperwork and things like that.
Excellent. Again, sorting out, organizing. We've even got personal organizers in this group, going through and getting the noise. I mean, I think Michael, you have ADD as well, right? For legit. I mean, I'm legit ADD.
Yeah,
So
I was diagnosed in the
diagnosed with
70s.
it when my daughter was diagnosed. So when she was in 8th grade. So I know that, I know my problem, and I can chase squirrels all day long. So having structure and having the distractions out of my office, out of my life, out of my home, out of my, wherever it might be, and my calendar makes it a daily journey. It's not just, okay, I want to be here. I want to have $1 million. I want to have this business. I want to have this great personal relationship, all these things, right? You want all those things, but you have to go on the journey daily to make those a reality. Mako's at work. I can see him right now, and he's multitasking because he has deemed that this block of time is important for him for whatever reason, right? Mac, go ahead, Randy.
I was going to say the flip side of what we were just talking about in my mind is to not underestimate or undercommit to your startup, to the new direction. You've got to be as realistic as possible. If you just say, okay, well, I'll get it when I get around to it, that old expression, get around to it.
I
That's
had
not
one
gonna
of those
work.
one time.
Yeah, I did too. It's a round thing that says to it.
Do it.
It's a round
Yeah.
to it. But you got to be careful because we'll say, all right, I'm going to go in a new direction. And you put a list of stuff together and you say, all right, I'll get to it when I get around to it. And then, you'll dabble at it today for 5 minutes and tomorrow for 10 minutes. You'll never get there. Don't overcommit either. Don't say, all right, well, I'm going to drop everything, my family, my finance. I'm just going to barrel it. No, that's no good either. You have to figure out what is a good balance between building this new or testing this new thing that I want to play with versus dropping my life completely and my family and everything else. So you've got to be realistic, or at least try to be as realistic as possible.
Ruth, did you have something? That's brilliant, Randy. I want to give Ruth a chance because she's opened up her mic and she's quiet, but she's usually has brilliance. So Ruth, what do you have to offer?
No, that's brilliant. Okay. I was going to suggest it to Ada as she developed her calendar that I would put on a dream time where she does not know right at this moment what she wants to do. And I would have a specific time each week where she looks at different areas, different products, and to look for something that really sparks her interest, that her heart kind of leaps towards. Because when you find something to do, you don't want to do it just for the one that makes you most money, supposedly, but you want to do something that you actually have a passion for, that touches your heart. So if she has a dream time each week, looking for different people, different products, and different services, that's how she can find the thing that she really wants to do.
Ruth,
good point, Ruth.
As I said, you bring brilliance to the table, and that was brilliant because that is there's a flip side to doing the time blocking that I didn't coin this phrase, but I love it, and it's the people that should all over themselves. You ever heard that? Don't should on yourself. It's if you don't put it on your calendar and don't put it down and say, I'm gonna carve this time out to figure this out, then you're just not only shooting on yourself, but you're shooting on everybody else,
right? Because
we're all trying to help you and you're not committed to it. So if you're not committed to it on a daily basis, it ain't happening. It's because your zombie brain will take over. And as others who have heard me say is we're all infected, and all of the thoughts that your brain has processed yesterday, you're thinking 95% of those you're going to think again today. And the only way you change that is with intention. And that's part of the tool of creating time blocks. I recommend that if you have an iPhone or any other kind of tool, I don't know how you manage it, or you use the old school calendars, but you actually do what Ruth said, what Michael said, what everybody here has said, is put blocks of time on that calendar. Obviously, if you have to show up at work at 8 o'clock and you go home at 5, 8 to 5, you're at work. And even in your work, you can subdefine what that time block looks like, but you can't, the dream part of it, maybe you can dream at lunch or whatever. But, again, if you don't write it down, it's the same thing with your goals, your vision, those kinds of things. One of the reasons why the workbook that Randy's gone through, and I know Michael's gone through and others have gone through with me, and the vision challenge is you write it down. You write down what it is that you really want and you put it down. The same thing with your calendar. If you don't put it on your calendar, you're going to should yourself into your history will be your destiny. And that's not a good thing.
Right. And where you get old, if you don't put it on your calendar, it doesn't get done. I just forget about it. That's it. Or as we say in New York, forget about it.
Forget about it. Any other thoughts? We've got about 8 minutes here, and I promise
Macco's open.
Macco, go ahead.
An important element of that, blocking out your time and filling up your calendar, Ada, is to also, what I refer to is doing HPAs, or highly productive actions.
Oh, good.
And not just fill up your calendar, but do the things that are pushing you toward that goal. It might be, making sure I do enough networking or actions, or making enough phone calls, but you want to concentrate on doing your HPAs, highly productive actions, in order to get you closer to your goal. and not just fill up your calendar.
I totally agree with that, Mako. Part of that is, again, it's a journey every day. You put things on your calendar that are highly productive activities that you intend to do every day, but make sure you're intentional about what goes on there. Don't just fill it up with nonsense.
Right, with stuff and
Ada,
things.
you opened your mic again. Did you have a question, Mike or Ada?
I don't have a question. I just wanted to say, everyone has such great ideas yourself about like the time blocking and, really thinking about why you're doing it and the clarifying questions, and also what Ruth said, she's right in terms of like, it's good to have set up some time where you, even like you said, it can be a specific time where you can do it, where you're doing another activity if you're not using your brain, but to also keep in mind to find a product that inspires you, that or will inspire others too.
Yeah, if you know what it is, or you know the answers to those questions, then it makes it easier then to make sure that you're putting what Mako described as your success focus, your high product. Mako's got a sign up here. It says you are now entering success. A success zone. I love it. So
I love it.
So
Yeah,
so the
thank you.
key here is this.
Enthusiastic
I'm gonna give you one other resource.
Great, Mako.
Ada, that isn't mine. If you've ever heard of Stephen Covey,
Sure,
which
I'm familiar
he's an
with
old
Stephen.
school guy, right? There's
Yes.
4 category. When you start putting things on your calendar in the high performance or highly productive activity or whatever Mako described is one way to look at it. But here's the thing, is you need quadrant A stuff. That's your urgent, important. Those are you're gonna do every day. You have to do those things. This is Stephen Covey, by the way. This isn't Dave Roberts. The second thing you need to do that is as important, in my opinion, in terms of getting to where you want to go, is the urgent but not important. In other words, there are things that are going to affect your future. They're quadrant B stuff. That's the quadrant B is the most upper right-hand corner. If I can see the quadrants, 4 quadrants in my head. The urgent, unimportant, you need to stop doing. So those shouldn't be on your calendar, right? Those are urgent, but they're not important. I mean, they're bugging you with it. Well, they may be urgent. I'm sorry. The urgent, not important is ones that you have to do, but they're not really, they're just turning the crank, right? They're going through. And then the urgent or the not important, not urgent, those are the ones you flush. So sorry, I messed that up, Stephen. I know he's in heaven. So I'm sorry I messed up your 4 quadrants, but anybody else? I know I saw some head nodding. I know you guys.
I just wanted to ask a question. There's so many great information here. How can I be able to listen to this replay of this recording, please?
Okay, I'm going to post a link. Well, are you on your phone?
I'm on my tablet.
Okay. Are you able to see the chat? Can you see live?
Yes, I can see the chat. Yes.
Can you see? I'll post a link to the YouTube channel. The main thing is stay connected. What I'll do also is I'm going to put what I'll do. Ada, you're welcome to take advantage of this. Is I'm going to post 2 things. I'm going to post here in the chat. I'm going to post a link that ties to my calendar that you can schedule a time that we can do a one-to-one Zoom. And now I'm going to post a link to the YouTube channel. Let me see if I was hoping I already had it up here, but I didn't. Okay.
Hey, Dave, I would take another step and I would send her your book to your workbook to go through before
Right.
your
Well, I'm not going to
face-to-face.
say, I don't just send that out unless I've had a one-to-one with people.
Okay. Because I think
So
that would be great for her to come up with her vision. It seems like her first step is that vision.
Yeah, I would agree with Michael. Thank you for that. I would agree with that. But I do want to, since she's new, I'm a big believer in sorry that whenever you bring up the channel, it comes, I'm not apologizing, but that it comes up to there. So I'm posting the YouTube channel. What I would suggest you do is go to this channel and make sure you're subscribed and you've got your notifications. If you know YouTube, subscribed and notifications on. And when this is uploaded.
Sorry. That was me.
Oh, okay. All right. So Ada, I posted those two links. One of them is the YouTube channel link. If you go there, subscribe to it. When this or any other mastermind goes up, the recording, you'll get a notification if you're subscribed and turned on the notification. So that's
Thank you very much. I'll definitely subscribe. I'll do that today. Thank you so
and
much.
that'll get you the access to this so you can revisit it. Which is why really why we record it anyway, is because there'll be 400 or 500 people over the course of that if the word gets out that there was some value here, right, that will tune in later. So just as a form of announcements, again, thank you guys for participating. Give yourselves a hand. You guys were amazing. This was a good discussion. I think Lisa's going to be excited. Hopefully she's not feeling like we stole any of her thunder, but this has been brilliant. The other thing is next Friday, we have another mastermind. And so we will be having mastermind and our Wednesday meetings will go on go forward every week. After next Friday for 2 weeks. And again, you can find it on the meetup calendar. We don't have a mastermind because I'm going to be in the Mediterranean. And I know I'm not that important, but Randy had asked for a 2-week vacation. So we'll have a 2-week vacation of our mastermind for those that are
blame it on me.
So no, I'm just it's actually I'm the one it's my fault,
Hey, we were gonna figure out a way to do it without you, but it doesn't make sense. We all need a break.
It may make sense, but I'm not smart enough to figure it out. So I just,
as soon as people find out you're not going to be there, they're not going to log in.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that, but anyway, so we have the announcements again. Next Friday is oh gosh, who is? Sorry, I should know this off the top of my head, but Randy knows that
I don't know it. Yeah, I didn't.
I often forget.
I do 1 week at a time.
So, but you'll get the notifications. Yeah. But it's on Meetup and it's on the Be Connected platform for anybody that's listening to this. And Lisa is, like I say, at August 26th. I know Darren is August 19th. And let's see, coming up. Oh, Christoph Nauer, and he's going to be. Interestingly enough, I think we talked about this today in the mastermind, but Christoph will be helping us with the 7 keys to work-life balance. Ooh. So he's going to be talking about managing that calendar that we just talked about across all dimensions of your life. So
that's important.
Pretty good timing, right? So
yeah, absolutely.
Again, I run my life by divine appointment. I don't understand anything.
Just going to say that.
But when God says, okay, we've closed all the doors. Here's the one that's open.
Right.
That's why we did this today. I went with what I was inspired to discuss. And again, you guys all showed up as part of that divine equation and all contributed. And so I'm as always, very grateful for you guys in this group. So anyway, we're past 1 o'clock. So y'all are free to leave. Thank you for again, everybody's contributions. It's been great. This will be a good mastermind.
Good to see you, Mako.
Mako, thank you again, brother. Thank you, Ruth.
Good to see you.
It was brilliant. Thank you, Zip.
Good to not see you, Zip.
And I appreciate, No, Zip gives me a hard. I'm always teasing Zip, so I only tease people I love. So
that's right.
I think he thinks maybe sometimes I'm not just.
I don't even think he's on. I think he just leaves it on. Prove me wrong.
Yeah, no, he's
Nope.
off screen and off mic. So he's probably on the phone. He's probably waiting
Probably on the
get
phone,
off the
right?
phone. He maybe heard enough to want to respond, but he's
That's
not.
right.
Yeah, we'll talk about him.
That was
while he's
good.
not here.
And Ada, it was great to have you here. Hope you'll be back next week.
Thank you. Yes, I'll be back next week. Thank you. I already signed up. Thank you.
Good. Excellent.
Really
Well, we're
enjoyed
looking forward to
hearing
having you.
Thank you.
And
Thanks.